Her phone lit up at 1 a.m. with his name. Not mine. That was the night I stopped being her fool. If this story stirred something in your heart, give it a like, share your thoughts below, and subscribe to Revenge Forge, where every story reminds us that pain can lead to power. I'm Cameron Drayton, 39, a logistics manager pulling in $180,000 a year at a mid-sized shipping firm in Raleigh, North Carolina. My wife, Courtney, 31, runs her own event planning business, turning corporate galas into six-figure deals. We've got a daughter, Lily, 8, with her mother's smile and my stubborn streak. Our life looked like a postcard. A 4-bedroom house in a quiet suburb, a paid-off SUV, and vacations to the Outer Banks every summer. Courtney and I met at a college bar, her laugh cutting through the noise like a beacon. I thought we were bulletproof. High school sweethearts don't break, right? Wrong. I'd been the steady one, climbing the ranks at work, managing supply chains like a chess game. Courtney was the spark, charismatic, always closing deals with a wink and a pitch. Her business was booming, pulling in $800,000 annually, and I was proud, even if it meant late nights and her phone glued to her hand. I handled Lily's school runs, cooked dinners, kept the house running. We were a team, until the cracks started showing. It began 3 months ago. Courtney's client meetings stretched past midnight. She'd breeze in, heels clicking, smelling of bourbon and jasmine perfume I didn't buy her. Our evenings, once spent debating wine or planning Lily's birthday, turned into her scrolling her phone, eyes distant. I'd ask, "Rough day?" She'd shrug, "Just work, Cam. You know how it is." But I didn't. Not anymore. The first red flag was a text. Lily was asleep, Courtney in the shower. Her phone buzzed on the counter. A name. Spencer Darnell. No message preview, just his name and a lock screen that wasn't there a month ago. My gut twisted. Spencer was her consultant, some hotshot she'd hired to streamline her business. I'd met him once. 37, slick suit, too much cologne, the kind of guy who shakes your hand but looks at your wife. I didn't touch her phone. Not yet. But that name burned into me like a brand. Things got worse. Courtney started dressing sharper. Tight dresses, red lipstick, hair done like she was walking a runway. She'd laugh off my compliments, saying, "Gotta look the part for clients." But her eyes didn't meet mine. At a neighborhood cookout, she spent half the night talking to Spencer, who'd dropped by with a bottle of whiskey. I watched them, her hand brushing his arm, his smirk lingering too long. Lily tugged my sleeve, asking for ice cream. I smiled for her, but inside, I was counting every glance. I'm no idiot. I spent years analyzing data, spotting patterns. Courtney's late nights, locked phone, and that new perfume weren't random. I started paying attention. Her laptop was always open, emails piling up. One night, while she was on a call, I saw an email notification pop up from Spencer. Subject: "Tonight." My chest tightened, but I kept my cool. I wasn't ready to confront her. I needed proof, not just a hunch. The proof came at 2 a.m. a week later. Courtney was asleep, her phone on the nightstand. It buzzed, lighting up with Spencer's name. I grabbed it, heart pounding. Her passcode was Lily's birthday, too easy. The text read, "Can't stop thinking about you. Same place tomorrow." Below it, a heart emoji. My hands shook as I scrolled. Messages going back months. Plans for drinks. Pet names. A photo of them at a bar, her head on his shoulder, his hand on her thigh. I sent screenshots to my email, deleted the evidence, and put the phone back. I didn't sleep that night. The man I'd been trusting steady felt like a stranger. The next day, I played the part. Made breakfast for Lily, kissed Courtney goodbye like nothing was wrong. She didn't notice my jaw clenching or the way I avoided her eyes. I went to work, ran numbers, and planned. I wasn't gonna scream or smash plates. That's not me. I'm the guy who finds the weak link in a supply chain and cuts it out. Courtney was about to learn that. The real gut punch came at one of her events, a corporate gala she'd planned for a tech firm. She insisted I come, said it'd be good for us. I brought Lily, dressed her in a sparkly dress she loved. The venue was all glitz. Chandeliers, champagne, suits worth more than my truck. Spencer was there, of course, schmoozing clients, his arm around Courtney like he owned her. She introduced us, her voice too bright. Cam, you remember Spencer, right? He grinned, offering a handshake. Good to see you, man. Courtney's killing it. I nodded, my grip firm. She's something? I said. My eyes locked on hers. She looked away. During the gala, Lily ran off to chase balloons, and I caught Courtney and Spencer in a corner, laughing, her hand on his chest. She didn't see me. I didn't make a scene. Instead, I pulled out my phone, opened the screenshots, and stared at them. Every word, every lie was a weight I carried. But I wasn't breaking. Not yet. The next twist hit at a parent-teacher night. Lily's teacher, Mrs. Ellis, pulled me aside. Lily's been quiet lately, she said. She mentioned you and Courtney arguing. My stomach dropped. We hadn't argued, not out loud. But kids see everything. I thanked Mrs. Ellis, promised to check in, and drove home with Lily singing in the back seat. That night, I tucked her in, her small hand gripping mine. Are you and Mommy okay? She asked. I forced a smile. We're figuring it out, kiddo. But I wasn't sure we were. I started digging deeper. Courtney's business records were on her laptop, left open one night while she was at a meeting. I found invoices from Spencer's consulting work, $20,000 a month for vague strategy sessions. No deliverables, no reports, just cash flowing to him. My logistics brain kicked in. This wasn't consulting. It was a payoff. I saved copies, backed them up, and kept quiet. Courtney wasn't just cheating. She was funneling money to her lover. The final straw was a dinner she hosted at our house. She invited Spencer, called him a key partner. I grilled steaks, poured wine, played the good husband. Lily was upstairs, watching cartoons. Spencer sat across from me, smirking, toasting Courtney's success. She laughed, her eyes sparkling for him, not me. I stayed calm, made small talk, but every word was a blade. After dessert, Spencer said, You've got a good setup here, Cam. Stay-at-home life suits you. Courtney giggled, a sound that cut deeper than his words. I smiled, leaned back and said, It's all about priorities. Some people keep theirs straight. The room went quiet. Spencer's smirk faded. Courtney changed the subject. That night, I packed a bag for Lily and me. I called my brother, Ethan, who lived an hour away. Can we crash with you? I asked. He didn't ask questions. Just said, Get over here. I left a note for Courtney, taking Lily to Ethan's. We need space. No accusations, no drama. Just facts. I drove through the night, Lily asleep in the back seat, her stuffed bunny clutched tight. My hands gripped the wheel, steady as ever. Courtney's lies were her cage. I was about to open the door. Ethan's spare bedroom smelled of cedar and old books, a quiet refuge from the storm I'd left behind in Raleigh. Lily slept soundly, her bunny tucked under her chin, oblivious to the fault lines cracking our family. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my phone, Courtney's texts piling up like unpaid invoices. Cam, where are you? I'm sorry, let's talk. Lily needs me. I didn't reply. Silence was my leverage now, and I wasn't cashing it in until I was ready. The next morning, I dropped Lily at school and headed to a coffee shop to clear my head. My laptop was open, the screenshots from Courtney's phone staring back at me. Spencer's words, "Can't stop thinking about you," burned like acid. But it was the invoices that kept me up at night. $20,000 a month to Spencer for consulting? I'd seen cleaner numbers on a used car lot. I started cross-referencing her business accounts, something I hadn't done since I helped her set up the company 5 years ago. Buried in the records was a pattern. Payments to Spencer's LLC, no contracts attached, all approved by Courtney. My logistics brain kicked into overdrive. This wasn't just an affair, it was a financial betrayal. I called my old college buddy, Nate Rivera, a CPA who owed me a favor from our days crunching numbers together. "Can you look at something for me?" I asked, emailing him the files. Nate called back that afternoon, his voice tight. "Cam, this is sloppy. No legit business pays this much for nothing. You got a paper trail? I did. Every invoice, every transfer. Keep digging, I said. I need to know how deep this goes. Meanwhile, Courtney kept pushing. She showed up at Ethan's house the next day, her eyes red, hair pulled back in a messy bun. No lipstick, no heels. Just Courtney, raw and unsteady. Cam, please, she said, standing on the porch. Let me see Lily. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. She's at school. You can see her this weekend, supervised. Her shoulders sagged, but she nodded. I'm trying, Cam. I swear. I didn't budge. Try harder, I said, closing the door. Her car idled in the driveway for 10 minutes before she left. I watched through the blinds, my jaw tight. Trying wasn't enough. Lily was my anchor. That night, I took her to a diner for burgers, her favorite. She dipped fries in ketchup, chattering about her science project, a model rocket. Can mommy come see it launch? She asked, her eyes big. I forced a smile. We'll figure it out, kiddo. But her question lingered. Lily didn't deserve to lose her mom, but I wasn't ready to let Courtney back in. Not after those texts, that photo, her hand on his thigh. The first twist came a week later. Nate called, his voice low, like he was sharing a secret. Cam, I traced Spencer's LLC. It's a shell, barely registered, no real assets. The money's going to an account in Charlotte, then poof, it's gone. Looks like Courtney's funneling cash to him, but it's not staying with him. My mind raced. What's that mean? I asked. Nate hesitated. Either he's moving it for her, or someone else is pulling strings. You need to talk to her, man. I didn't confront Courtney. Not yet. Instead, I went to Lily's school for her parent-teacher conference. Mrs. Ellis was there, her face kind but concerned. Lily's been drawing pictures of you and Courtney apart, she said, sliding a crayon sketch across the table. It showed me and Lily on one side, Courtney alone on the other, a red line between us. My throat tightened. She's okay, Mrs. Ellis added. But she feels the tension. I nodded, promising to keep things stable. Driving home, I gripped the wheel. Lily's drawing burned into my mind. This wasn't just about me anymore. Courtney kept showing up, for Lily, not me. She came to Lily's soccer practice, cheering from the sidelines, her voice cracking when Lily scored. She brought homemade cookies, stayed for the whole game, and didn't push to talk to me. I watched her, looking for the lie, the slip. But she was different. Quieter, less polished, like the Courtney I'd met in college, not the one who'd laughed with Spencer at our table. I didn't trust it, but Lily's smile was real, and that was enough for now. Then came the second twist. I was at a bar with Ethan, grabbing a beer to decompress, when he dropped a bomb. You know Spencer's married, right? He said, sipping his IPA. I froze, my glass halfway to my mouth. What? Ethan leaned in. Yeah, saw it on his LinkedIn. Wife's name is Rachel. They've got a kid, too. My mind spun. Spencer wasn't just Courtney's lover. He was cheating on his own family. I pulled up his profile on my phone. There it was. Rachel Darnell, married to Spencer. A 6-year-old son. Perfect little family, just like mine used to be. I didn't tell Courtney I knew. Instead, I contacted Rachel. Found her on social media, sent a message. I'm Cameron Drayton. We need to talk about Spencer and my wife. She replied within an hour, agreeing to meet at a park halfway between Raleigh and Charlotte. Rachel was 36, sharp-eyed, a real estate agent with a no-nonsense vibe. We sat on a bench, Lily and her son playing nearby. I suspected something, she said, her voice steady but brittle. Spencer's been working late, for months. I showed her the screenshots, minus the photo. Didn't need to twist the knife. She stared at them, her jaw tight. What's your plan? She asked. I leaned back, my voice low. I'm not here to burn it all down, but they don't get to walk away clean. Rachel and I agreed to share information, nothing more. She wasn't vengeful, just tired, like me. I drove home, my mind racing. Spencer wasn't just a player. He was a predator, juggling 2 families while pocketing Courtney's cash. But why? Was Courtney in on it? Or was she his mark? 2. The next day, Courtney asked to take Lily to a planetarium. I said yes, but insisted on coming along. At the planetarium, Lily bounced between exhibits, her eyes wide at the star projections. Courtney and I stood side by side, watching her. "She's growing up fast," Courtney said, her voice soft. I nodded, keeping my eyes on Lily. "She deserves better than lies," I said. Courtney flinched, but didn't push back. "I know," she whispered. For the first time, I saw guilt in her eyes. Not the polished kind, but the raw, messy kind. I didn't soften. Not yet. Then came the big twist. I got a call from Nate, his voice urgent. "Cam, I found where the money's going. Spencer's LLC is tied to a real estate deal in Charlotte. A condo project. Courtney's payments are funding it. But her name's nowhere on the paperwork." My blood ran cold. "She's being played?" I asked. Nate hesitated. "Or she's in on it. Hard to tell. But the project's shaky, bad loans, shady investors. If it tanks, she's out millions." I sat back, my bourbon untouched. Courtney's business was her pride, her empire. Was she funneling money to Spencer out of love, or was she part of a scam? I needed answers, but confronting her now would tip my hand. Instead, I reached out to a contact at my firm, Jenna, who knew the Charlotte real estate scene. "Look into this condo deal," I said, sending her the details. Quietly, she promised to dig. The next week, Courtney showed up at Lily's school play. She sat in the back, clapping louder than anyone when Lily took her bow as a talking tree. After, she approached me, hesitant. "Cam, I got a new client," she said. "Small gig, but it's honest work. I'm starting over." I raised an eyebrow. "No more consultants?" She shook her head, her eyes steady. "No more Spencer." I didn't respond, just nodded and walked away. Her words sounded real, but I'd heard her promises before. That night, Jenna called. "The condo deal's a mess," she said. "Spencer's tied to a developer who's been flagged for fraud. Courtney's money's in deep, but she's not listed as an investor. Looks like Spencer used her." My jaw tightened. Courtney wasn't just cheating. She was either a fool or a fraud. I thanked Jenna, hung up, and stared at my phone. The screenshots, the invoices, Rachel's story, it was all coming together. But I wasn't ready to strike. Not yet. I took Lily to the park the next day, watching her climb the jungle gym. Courtney texted, asking to join us. I said yes, for Lily's sake. She showed up with a picnic basket, her smile tentative. We sat on a blanket, Lily giggling over sandwiches. For a moment, it felt like the old days. But I saw that photo in my mind, her head on Spencer's shoulder. I wasn't ready to forgive. Not when I was holding the pieces of her lies. As I drove home, my phone buzzed. A message from Rachel. "Spencer's selling the condo stake. He's cutting Courtney out." I gripped the wheel, my knuckles white. This was it, the weak link in their chain. I wasn't going to scream or fight. I was going to dismantle their game, piece by piece, and make sure they felt every move. Rachel's message lit a fuse in me, but I didn't let it burn wild. Spencer was selling the condo stake, cutting Courtney out, and leaving her holding the bag for a shady deal. My logistics brain kicked in. Every move had to be precise, no emotion, just strategy. I wasn't out for blood. I wanted justice, the kind that stings without a fist. Courtney's lies, Spencer's greed, their betrayal of two families. It was all leverage now. I just needed the right moment to pull the pin. I met Rachel again, this time at a diner off I-40, halfway between our worlds. She slid into the booth, her face harder than before, a folder in her hand. "Spencer's moving fast," she said, passing me documents. "He's transferring the condo funds to an offshore account. My lawyer says it's fraud." I scanned the papers, bank transfers, emails, a trail of Spencer's sleaze. Courtney's name was on every payment, but not the deal itself. She'd been played or she was complicit. Either way, she was in deep. "What's your next move?" Rachel asked, sipping her coffee. I leaned back, my voice low. "We expose him. Not to them, to everyone who matters." She nodded, a flicker of respect in her eyes. We weren't allies, just two people burned by the same fire. Back at Ethan's, I kept things steady for Lily. She was my North Star, her laughter cutting through the fog of my plans. I took her to school, helped with her rocket project, kept her world spinning. But every night, I pored over the evidence, screenshots, invoices, Rachel's documents. I wasn't just building a case, I was crafting a trap. Spencer's condo deal was crumbling, and Courtney's business was tied to it. If it tanked, she'd lose everything. Her reputation, her clients, her empire. I didn't want her broken, but I wanted her to feel the weight of her choices. The next twist came at Lily's rocket launch for her science project. Courtney showed up, her smile tentative, carrying a thermos of hot chocolate for Lily. The field was packed with parents, kids, and teachers, the air buzzing with excitement. Lily's rocket soared, a streak of silver against the Carolina sky, and Courtney cheered louder than anyone. I watched her, her eyes bright, no trace of the woman who'd smirked with Spencer. After, Lily ran to us, hugging Courtney first, then me. "You both came," she said, her grin wide. My chest tightened. For a moment, we were a family again. But the screenshots in my pocket, digital ghosts of her lies, kept me grounded. Courtney caught me alone as Lily played with friends. "Cam, I'm selling the business," she said, her voice low. "It's too much. I want to focus on Lily." I raised an eyebrow, skeptical. "What about Spencer's consulting?" Her face fell, guilt flashing. "He's gone. I cut him off months ago. I didn't buy it, not fully." "Prove it," I said, my tone sharp. She nodded, pulling out her phone, showing me an email to Spencer. "We're done. No more payments. Sent 2 weeks ago." I stared at the screen, my mind racing. Was she covering her tracks? Or was she really trying to change? I didn't respond, just walked away. Lily's laughter pulling me back to the moment. But Rachel's next message shifted everything. "Spencer's meeting investors tonight," she texted. "Downtown Raleigh, 8 p.m. He's pitching the condo deal as his own." I saw my opening. Not a confrontation, not a fight, just a calculated strike. I called Jenna, my real estate contact. "Can you get me into that meeting?" I asked. She hesitated, then agreed. "It's a private event, but I know someone. Dress sharp." That night, I left Lily with Ethan and drove to the venue. A sleek rooftop bar, all glass and neon, packed with suits chasing deals. I blended in, my old work blazer still fitting like a glove. Spencer was there, holding court, his voice smooth as he pitched the condo project. "Prime Charlotte real estate," he said, flashing a grin. "Fully funded, ready to break ground." I stood in the back, sipping a soda, watching him lie. Courtney wasn't there, but her money was propping up his scam. Jenna slipped me a USB drive. "Investor packet," she whispered. "Your wife's funds are all over it, but Spencer's name is on the title." I nodded, my jaw tight. I didn't need to speak. I just needed the room to listen. During a break, I approached the projector tech, a kid barely 25, and slipped him $100. "Play this when I signal," I said, handing him the USB. He shrugged, pocketing the cash. When Spencer resumed his pitch, I gave the nod. The screen behind him flickered, then lit up with my evidence. Screenshots of his texts to Courtney, invoices showing her payments, and Rachel's documents tying him to the fraud. The room went silent, investors shifting in their seats. Spencer froze, his face pale. "This is a mistake," he stammered. But the emails kept scrolling, his lies laid bare. I didn't say a word, just walked out, the murmurs of the crowd trailing behind me. By morning, X was buzzing with posts about the failed deal. Spencer's name dragged through the mud. A Reddit stories thread even picked it up, calling it the slickest takedown of a conman. Courtney called the next day, her voice shaking. "Cam, what did you do?" I leaned against my truck, Lily's soccer ball in hand. "I showed the truth," I said. "Your business is clean now. You're welcome." She was quiet, then whispered, "I didn't know he was using me." I didn't respond. Her tears didn't move me, not yet. The final twist came from Rachel. She texted me a week later. Spencer's wife left him. He's broke, lost the deal. I felt no joy, just a grim satisfaction. Spencer was out of the picture, but Courtney's mess was hers to clean up. She sold her business for a fraction of its worth, enough to cover debts but not her pride. She moved into a smaller apartment, started freelancing, and kept showing up for Lily. Every game, every school event, no excuses. I watched her change, not into the woman I'd loved, but into someone new. A mom, not a queen. Lily's 9th birthday was the turning point. We planned a party at Ethan's house, simple, just pizza and a bounce house. Courtney brought a cake she'd baked herself, lopsided but covered in Lily's favorite sprinkles. We stood side by side, watching Lily blow out her candles, her wish a secret between her and the stars. "I want you and Mommy to be friends," she said later, tugging my sleeve. I glanced at Courtney, her eyes hopeful but guarded. "We're trying, kiddo," I said, ruffling her hair. That night, Courtney handed me a letter, her handwriting shaky but clear. "Cam, I broke us. I chased a fantasy with Spencer, thinking it'd fix me. Didn't. I'm in therapy rebuilding for Lily, not you. I don't expect forgiveness, but I'll keep showing up." I read it twice, then tucked it away. It wasn't an apology I could accept, not fully, but it was honest. For the first time, I saw her not as my wife, but as Lily's mom, fighting to be better. Weeks later, I ran into Spencer at a gas station. He looked rough, unshaven, driving a beat-up sedan. "Cam, I'm sorry," he said, his voice low. "I messed up." I stared at him, my face stone. "You didn't mess up, Spencer. You chose." So did she. I walked away, the pump clicking behind me. He wasn't worth my anger. Courtney and I started co-parenting, not as partners, but as allies for Lily. We took her to the zoo, sat through her school plays, even laughed once when she smeared ice cream on my shirt. I didn't love Courtney anymore. The man who did was gone. But I respected her effort, her fight to be the mom Lily needed. My revenge wasn't loud or cruel. It was exposing the truth, letting their lies collapse under their own weight. Spencer lost his game. Courtney lost her empire. I kept my daughter and my dignity. This isn't a story of heroes or villains. It's about choices, consequences, and the quiet power of walking away. I look at Lily, her eyes bright as she builds her next rocket, and I know I did right by her. But I wonder, when someone who broke you tries to rebuild, do you hold the door shut or let it crack open? Not for them, but for the kid who loves you both. You're here because this story meant something. Don't scroll away without leaving a like, a thought, and your subscription. Revenge Forge is where real stories find their voice, and yours.